morning, everyone. Rob and Susie here virtually for you. And I'm going to start with a song that I wrote back in 2007 that has to do exactly with what we're talking about today, that we are all that we believe, and if we believe there's a miracle to come, by golly, that miracle's on its way. It's already in the mind of God, ready to come to you if you're ready to accept it. So if you all that you believe is willing to be open to receive, you're likely to get that miracle. Desire on the way to me. I am open to receive gifts that God is giving through me, full of love, bursting out with joy, opening my heart to start again. Questions are answers in good time. Love is the answer that seeks me to find. Now that I'm opening my eyes to see, well, the light is on and I am coming home. I am coming home. Desire on the way to me. I am open to receive gifts that God is giving through me, full of love, bursting out with joy, opening my heart to start again. All that I believed before is led to yet that open door. All the good that I've imagined comes to me in every second. Seeing and believing are walking hand in hand. Well, the light is on and I am right at home. I am right at home. Now we're going to do a little chant in the middle of this. It's very simple. And it's I am all that I believe. And just like I said earlier, I am open to receive. Now when you say this, I'm saying it in the I pronoun. So I want you to use that for yourselves as you're home chanting along with me. We'll do it a few times. I am all that I believe. Well, I am open to receive. I am open to receive. I'm all that I believe. I am all that I believe. Open to receive. I am open to receive. I am all that I believe. I am open to receive. Things I am open to receive. I am all that I believe. Very good, do it. And I am open to receive. One more time. I am all that I believe. I am open to receive. Dream of possibility and tend it with the life you seek. Look to every moment and give that dream a heartbeat. Then you'll find you're walking in the dreams that we once shared. Well, the light is on and we all found a home. We have found a home where the light is on and we are welcome home. We are welcome here. We are welcome here. We are welcome here.
Thank you, Rob. You wrote that.
Yes.
Rob wrote that.
In a moment of inspiration. Don't know.
Beautiful song. I am all that I believe. I am open to receive. Good morning. I'm Reverend Dr. Susie Shadle. I welcome you to Unity of Sarasota, where something good is always happening, and right now it's happening virtually wherever you may be. And so take it all in. Own it. It's yours. We are so happy to have you with us on this live broadcast over Facebook Live and on the internet, on our website, and they are also recorded on both of those sites, so you can go back and listen to it again, or if you miss it, of course you wouldn't know. If I'm telling you now that if you miss it, you wouldn't know that I'm telling you right now that if you miss it. So if you're listening, tell somebody who missed it that if they miss it, they can go listen to it later. Okay, that was a very convoluted way to say I'm not sure what. So moving on.
I'm glad you said it.
I'm glad I said it. Yeah, because now that I'm confused, great. Okay, cool.
Right?
No, we like to do that every now and then, make sure you're paying attention. Of course, if you're not here, you would have missed that.
That's probably true. Yeah. So turn up the volume.
So crank up the volume, yeah.
On your radio.
Right. Okay. Unity of Sarasota is a beacon of light and love, and apparently laughter as well, opening minds, touching hearts, and transforming lives. We are an inclusive spiritual community that embraces empowering and life-affirming practical spirituality for richer living right here and right now, right where you are. We join with the Unity movement worldwide in creating a world that works for all, and my friends, now is the time for us to create a world that works for all. So let your friends and your family, everybody you know, let them know on all of your social media about Unity of Sarasota. Click like, love, share, all the clicks that you can click, and invite them to join us online for our Sunday celebration service and or our Wednesday evening music and inspiration on Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Please know also that you can get all kinds of information about all the online, virtual, interactive opportunities we have available to you. We've created lots of those. If you go to the website, you can find out about it there, or you can go to the website, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already done that. We send out 2 issues of the newsletter per week. The first one is informational, and the second one is inspirational. And those newsletters are your best way to stay in tune with the infinite possibilities we're creating for you here, to interact, not just with the hosts and facilitators, but also to interact with the participants. We have lots of small groups, we've got classes, we've got yoga, we've got all kinds of opportunities online. So please go to that newsletter and stay abreast of what's happening. That's your most current and up-to-date information. We do ask for those small groups and all the various interactive opportunities to search your heart and give a love offering to support and sustain Unity of Sarasota. You can also see in the newsletter, in the informational newsletter, ways that you can give or ask for outreach assistance. Also, we have opportunities to come here to this beautiful campus and help us keep it beautiful by raking leaves or weeding or just, you know what, just your presence, walking the campus, walking the labyrinth. Come be out in this gorgeous campus, this gorgeous nature that surrounds us, and get you out of the house, get you a little bit of exercise, and keeps you connected. So check it out. We have a beautiful opportunity here. Now, if you go to the website and click the Contribute button, or you can go to the newsletter and you'll find out all of the wonderful ways, very clever, creative, and easy-peasy ways that you can give of your financial abundance to continue to support and sustain your spiritual community, Unity of Sarasota. Lots of ways to do that. And in fact, we're going to do a little bit of that right now. We've got some, and we've got more, yay. That was easy, cash money. Look at that, you don't see that very often anymore, cash money.
If I didn't fall over, it's easy.
So we thank you for, again, touch your heart and take the guidance there and make a love offering, a financial gift to support us supporting you and the greater community of Sarasota. And we appreciate your gifts, and we appreciate you going to the effort to find out all the clever, and I mean, we live in very clever times, folks. You'd be amazed all the ways that you can give, and they actually are very, very easy. So we appreciate your support and your participation in all of that. So thank you for that. Let's bring it in a little bit and move into prayer. And so I'd invite you to close your eyes, or otherwise a soft focus. If you happen to be near a window and you can look outside, that's a great way to bring your focus clear. And take that beautiful picture of whatever you're looking at, bring that in to the very center of your being. Breath helps to do that. So take a nice deep breath in, hold it around your heart space, and then full exhale. Breathing in deeply, pause, exhaling fully. That puts us in the divine flow, the divine circulation of the in-breath and the out-breath of Father, Mother, God, Spirit, the inspiration of Spirit, allowing God to breathe us. And in so doing, to remind us that we are in the divine flow and circulation of all that is good and wonderful, that we are one with all of life, one with God, one with one another, one, simply one, expressing ourselves as many. In all our diversity, we remain one in the unity of all life and creation. And so we come together to remind ourselves and each other of that truth, that each one of us is a unique and individualized expression of the one God. To remind ourselves that as we look at one another, we are looking into the face, the heart, the soul, Father, Mother, God, Spirit. We answer the question, what if God is one of us? God is one of us, each of us, all of us, the one of us. For we are one, inseparable. There is no separation, no distance, no apartness. We are interconnected in the unity of all life. We are one. We are one. And so it is. And I'm thankful to know this truth, and most importantly, I am thankful that we are each willing to live this truth. And so it is, and together we say, thank God within and all around me. Amen. So our daily word today is divine order. And the affirmation, divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. As spring ripens into summer each year, new leaves transform bare trees into canopies of green. And we have proof all around us. Tiny seedlings grow into sturdy plants and decorate the landscape with an array of colorful blossoms. I marvel at the divine order demonstrated as the earth renews itself. I recognize that even as the earth appeared barren in wintertime, new life was preparing to spring forth. I notice this pattern in my life. I may be demonstrating visible growth in my life, or, like the earth in winter, it may seem that my life is stagnant and barren. I remember that as the seasons of nature change, so do the seasons of my life. Even when it is not apparent to me, I know that divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. And our scripture comes from Mark 4:28. The earth produces of itself first the stalk, then the head, then the full grain in the head. And the affirmation again, divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. For those of you who have memorized our statement of being, or you have one of our little cheat sheets with you, I'd ask you to join me in our statement of being. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, who is perfect life, perfect intelligence, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. You are an individualized expression of God. We are individualized expressions of God.
It's not that unusual when everything is beautiful. It's just another ordinary miracle today. The sky knows when it's time to snow. Don't need to teach a seed to grow. It's just another ordinary miracle today. Life is like a gift, they say, wrapped up for you every day. Open up and find a way to get some of your own. Isn't it remarkable? Like every time a raindrop falls, it's just another ordinary miracle today. The birds in winter have their fling and always make it home by spring. It's just another ordinary miracle today. When you wake up every day, please don't throw your dreams away. Hold them close to your heart, and 'cause we are all a part of the ordinary miracle. Yes, the ordinary miracle. Do you want to see a miracle today? It seems so exceptional that things just work out after all. It's just another ordinary miracle today. The sun comes out and shines so bright, disappears again at night. It's just another ordinary miracle today. It's just another ordinary miracle today.
Thank you, Rob. Just another ordinary miracle today. I want to start with our core value affirmation. In loving service, we help and support others, and we express gratitude for how others bless our lives. In loving service, we help and support others, and we express gratitude for how others bless our lives. Last week, I began a series on conditions for manifesting miracles. Ordinary miracles. I put forward the idea that miracles are awesome normalities in our lives, that miracles are ordinary and they can happen every single day. If we study and then begin to apply the conditions necessary to create those miracles in our lives. We're using the miracle of the loaves and fishes to study what we uncover if we look through some of the, beyond the English translation of the story and look below that to the complexity and the richness of the Greek language. And we start to look at that and tease it apart, and what we find is a blueprint. We literally find a blueprint for creating the conditions, for setting the conditions and applying the conditions for manifesting miracles in our lives. And so I'm going to read that passage from Matthew 14:13 through 23, and remind us of the story that we're all so familiar with, of the loaves and fishes. And I get to read, I'm very excited about this, that I get to read it from my Jerusalem Bible, which, by the way, is covered in olive tree wood and an olive tree branch from, actually that's from the Jordan River, where I got that. So I'm going to read this passage from Matthew 14:13 through 23. This takes place right after Jesus has been told that his beloved John the Baptist has been beheaded. And so Jesus goes off to be by himself, to be in prayer and to grieve and to find peace. When Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves food." But Jesus said unto them, "They need not depart. Give ye them to eat." And they say unto him, "We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes." He said, "Bring them hither to me." And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat, and were filled, and they took up of the fragments that remained 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship, and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into the mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. So Jesus goes to be apart, to be in quiet and silence, to be in an empty space, an empty place, in order to get centered, to grieve, to find peace, and to remember his wholeness. And after spending time with the crowd, with the multitudes, he departed yet again to be alone, to be in prayer, to be in quiet, to be in silence, to be centered in peace. But first, we'll look at some of the details of the miracle of the loaves and fishes, so that we can tease out the conditions that we can use to manifest miracles in our own lives. Dr. Todd Michael wrote, Jesus said that others would do even greater things. It is logical that a master miracle worker would perform the miracle and make a special point of showing us how to do it ourselves. Every wise person knows that it is good to feed a hungry person a fish, but far better to show the person how to fish. Would we not expect to find a lesson somewhere in the teachings that gives specific instructions for the technique of manifestation? In this time of major upheavals in our lives, there's a disturbance in the force in the human experience. It's on many, many levels for us right now. And this disruption sometimes, I think, reminds us that sometimes we need to break down completely in order to break through fully, so that we don't try to patch things back together. It's kind of like a muffler that has a rusted hole in it, and we patch the hole and then it blows out somewhere else. Sometimes we have to replace the whole muffler. And so these times of a disturbance in the force, if you will, are good times to learn to manifest miracles as a normal part of our lives, to each day have an ordinary miracle in your life, a miracle that blesses not only us individually, but blesses all of us collectively. So I want to remind us of the conditions we spoke of last week. The first condition, emptiness. Jesus goes into the desert, an empty space, a void, in order to be alone, to be open, to be receptive, to let go of what was. And we are called to release and to give and to let flow and to be that which we seek to experience, to allow ourselves to empty out, to be open and available to what's next. That literally, that open space, that emptiness creates a vacuum for more good to flow into. So we become open and receptive. And that's the value of a vacuum. A second condition is alignment. Jesus saw the crowd, and instead of saying, "Oh, bummer, I came out here to be alone," he said, "I'll be with the crowd." He was moved to compassion, to serve and to feed the crowd. He was moved by his awareness of the oneness of all being. And so his compassion moved him to serve and to feed the crowd on many levels. We're called to move into compassion and service. And it is that very compassion and service that connects us to God, to self, authentic self, to others, and it connects us to the flow of good in our lives. The third condition is asking. So the crowd made their hunger known. The crowd made their hunger known to the disciples, and the disciples made the hunger of the crowd known to Jesus. They communicated their need, and they asked for food. And so we are too called to clarify and communicate the clear what of our intention, of our desire, of the miracle we're wanting to create. It's important that we put the asking in clear, powerful words. Those words carry energy. Clear, powerful words so that the universe can fulfill our requests, can fulfill the ask. The fourth condition, maximizing. Jesus focuses on appreciation of what they have. He does not focus on what they do not have. He focuses on what they have. And his belief that we live in an abundant universe and that God is a generous God enabled him to receive the gift of more food, more sustenance in order to feed the crowd. His belief opened him to receive. We're called to focus on what we have, not on what we do not have, to focus on what we have and to maximize what we have. The law of attraction teaches us that what we focus our attention on increases and expands. And so if we focus on lack, we have more lack. If we focus on abundance and the gifts and the blessings that we already have, they increase and expand. let me give you an example of using those first 4 conditions of a miracle. We actually have a team of folks here at Unity of Sarasota. Even in this time, we have a team of folks who are working on manifesting a miracle right now. We've got a team of people who are wanting to create gardens throughout the campus. Some of them gardens with vegetables, gardens that we can eat and that we can share, and others that are gardens of flowers and beauty, gardens of plants that are beautiful. So I'm going to use the first 4 conditions of a miracle to let you know how they're doing it. The first thing that they did was to empty the space, and so they've cleared space for the gardens. They've cleared the space, and now the space is a vacuum. It's available to receive the seed, available to receive the nurturance to bloom into a garden. They moved into alignment with the laws of nature. Instead of using, artificial ways of growing the gardens, they're working in alignment with the laws of nature and doing all of this in natural ways. And so they moved into alignment in that space of emptiness. They did a lot of asking. They've asked specific people, would you like to own one of the gardens? Meaning that you would love it up and nurture it and tend to this garden. It'll have your name on it. And so they asked, and I think we already have about 5 people who have stepped up and said, yes, I'll do it. So the asking opened up the space. A clear ask for a clear what has opened up the space for a clear answer to fulfill it. And by doing this wonderful miracle, we are maximizing the beauty of this campus, the conditions of manifesting miracles. And you all will get to be the recipients of that, and some of you might decide to participate as well. So today we're going to move on to the next 4 conditions of manifesting miracles. The 5th condition for manifesting miracles is giving. Giving. The flow of the loaves and fishes begins with giving. Source of the original gift of bread and fish. He gives freely to the greater good of what he has. And what happens is that, well, think about it. Don Hodson reminded me of this the other day, and we had a little discussion about it, that, whenever any one of us travels, I know this is true for myself. When I get ready to go on the airplane, I always have a little baggie with nuts or bottles of water, so I always have some snacks, or if I'm traveling by car, anytime I'm traveling anywhere, I always have some. And so the likelihood is that the multitude, the crowd that came to listen, a few little morsels themselves. But what happens is when the little boy gives the food, gives the bread and fishes to the disciples who then take it to Jesus, the food, Jesus blesses the food, but then the food begins to be passed. And as the food is passed, it miraculously multiplies. And some of that miracle is that the people see that people are giving that they brought. And so it multiplies, it magnifies, it expands and increases. Giving stimulates the flow and the increase of our resources. It creates. It's important that we focus on the intent and the feeling experience behind our giving as well. If it's to be noticed or to be applauded, it's an energy that collapses in on itself. And so it's important to be giving from a place of freely giving, of generosity. Because like attracts like. And so that giving and receiving reflect one another. And so the receiving of the gift will be reflected in the energy of its giving. So be intentional and conscious in your giving. Give selflessly, give freely, give generously of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Your time spent with Spirit itself. Your time spent in relationship with God. your talent, sharing the gifts that you've been given, and your treasure, sharing of your abundance. So truly, it's about giving of your whole self, your whole being. I want to tell you a little story that illustrates this. There's a man who, he died. He died, and his angel was taking him from this earthly existence. And he said, we're going to visit a couple of places. And so the first place they went, they go to this place, and he walks in with the angel, and he sees this giant banquet table just filled with every kind of scrumptious food you can imagine. And people are all around the table, but he looks at the people, and they're crying, and they've got scowls on their faces, and they're emaciated. They look like they're starving in the midst of this abundance. And then he notices that each one of them has this gigantic fork that is several feet long. And they're all trying to poke at the food and trying to eat with that giant fork, and they can't get the food to their mouths. And so they're starving in the midst of abundance. And the angel said, this is hell. Let me show you another place. And so they go to another place, same scenario. Gigantic banquet table filled with the bounty of scrumptious food like you can't even imagine. And it's people surrounded by people, but they're all laughing and smiling, and they look healthy and robust. And they too have these gigantic forks. But the difference here is that they're poking at the food and they're feeding each other. And the angel said, this is heaven. Where do you belong? So I ask you, what will you give freely and generously? And when you determine that, do it this week. Do it this week. The sixth condition for manifesting miracles is grounding. Metaphysical power and physical power are governed by somewhat similar laws. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you're I should have brought these. Shoot. I had a really clever prop that I forgot. It's in my garage. This pair of really thick rubber boots. Really thick rubber boots, okay? And then I stand there in these thick rubber boots and I stick my finger in a socket, in an electrical socket. What happens? Because there's no ground for the energy, the electricity to flow, okay? Now, change scenarios. I take off the rubber on a damp floor, and I stick my finger in the electric socket. What do you suppose happens? My hair gets curlier than it already is. Because I'm the ground. I'm grounded, and the current has a place to flow. It flows into that ground. And the earth itself, by the way, is ground which pulls the flow of that electricity, that current, toward it, into it, much like the vacuum in the emptiness of our other condition for manifesting miracles. And so it literally pulls that charge into it. The energy of miracles flows in a similar way. That grounding process moves the energy from the high point to the low point. It flows from high to low. Flow goes to the lowest point. Water, when it travels, ultimately goes. Supply and demand is the flow from the highest point where there's lots of supply all the way down to where there isn't any, where the demand is. So it flows to the lowest point. Same is true of knowledge. Flows it to the ones who don't. Okay, so how low can the flow go? Jesus tells the crowd on the grass. He tells them that in order to ground them, Now, again, if we tease apart the Greek language, it's a little more robust. What it really means is to lay. The irony, remember, they're in a desert. Not a lot of grass and gardens in a desert. And so this really harkens back to the Garden of Eden. Into the garden, which origins are, to lay back into the garden. And as we're laying back, we're looking up. We're looking up to the source. Consciousness, moving us toward Christ consciousness. Back into the garden. And it helps, we're told in other passages, that we must become as little children before we put the layers and the layers and the layers of stuff on us. When we were innocent and pure and home. When we were home in the garden of our origin. Meditation helps us to develop that consciousness. It grounds us in the present moment, much as a child. Go boom, wah! 1 minute later, they're off playing again. They don't hang on to you. Well, I got hurt, and tell every child they meet for the rest of their lives, I fell down and bruised my knee. It happened, it's gone. They stay in the present moment. So meditation, as a child, we become as little children. And when we're grounded in consciousness, the doors of perception begin to open up to us all the possibilities and miracles we can possibly imagine. And we see wholeness, from wholeness to wholeness. If you want to know more about that perception from wholeness, past Wednesday's talk, I talked a lot about wholeness. And I was told by several people it was pretty good. So check it out. But this grounding pulls positive energy to flow from the universe, from spirit, in and through and as us. So I ask you now, what commitment will you make to grounding yourself through meditation this week? Make a commitment to ground yourself through meditation, spiritual practice this week. Seventh condition for manifesting miracles is restoring vision. Restoring vision. The traditional translation in this passage from Matthew says, Jesus looked up to heaven. And again, when we tease apart the Greek language, it goes deeper. The Greek translation or interpretation says, restore vision to the source of power and happiness. Restore vision to the source of power and happiness. Instead of problem solving, which we human beings really love to do, we love to jump in there and problem solve and try to fix it, right? And I don't know about you, but sometimes when I jump in there and problem solve and fix, I make it worse than it was when it started. Because I don't stop and go, maybe I should plug into the source before I turn the switch on. Focus attention on the source of all good, the source of all wisdom and knowledge. Form follows thought. Consciousness is cause. Our experience is a mirror image of what's inside of us. That song said, God inside of us. I am what I believe. I open to receive. God inside of me. The pipeline that connects us, or the wire, if you will, to use our electrical analogy, that connects us to the source, is consciousness. Consciousness is the conduit. Focus thoughts and feelings on the source. Dwell in the source. Be in connection, in oneness and wholeness with the source. Become grounded in the perception from wholeness, from oneness with spirit. Restore vision to the one source of all creation and all sustenance. Restore vision, not these physical eyes, the eyes of God. Restore our vision to the source. All miracles, all forms of energy and matter are manifestations of our consciousness. We cannot manifest what we cannot be conscious of. So we must reshape our consciousness to align with God mind and truth. And then those miracles become awesome normalities and easy. I need my other my easy button. I need my rubber boots and my easy button. Darn. That was easy. True power comes when we reshape our consciousness and align with God, mind, and truth. We catch God's vision, and then we visualize. Catch God's vision, because it's far greater than anything we can imagine. Catch God's vision, and then visualize a vivid mental picture and a vivid feeling of passion in the soul. So our mind and soul are in alignment. The mind and soul are focused on that vividness of the miracle we're creating. And we develop a depth of clarity of our vision through faith. Believing is seeing and experiencing. You know, we always say, I'll believe it when I see it. No, 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 other way around. Believe it, and behind all the manifesting of miracles is from the source, Father, Mother, God, Spirit. Connect with the source through meditation and visualization, then gives direction to the power of the flow that we're inviting to move through us and to move us. It's like that electrical wire that goes from the outlet to the appliance and makes it work. You know, when I training, I was becoming a licensed practitioner, and a good friend and I went to a very wonderful special music store in Seattle, and she was trying to work out a deal and some purchases and whatever of these instruments, and she proposed a deal, and the owner said, no, I can't do that, that's too much. And that went back and forth a little bit, and they were both sort of stumped in the moment. And I said, you know what, why don't we go get a bite of lunch, and we'll talk it over and think it over and just be with that, and you can do the same, and we'll come back. And so my friend said to me as we got in the car, hey, do that thing that you do, you know, with all the steps and the steps of affirmative prayer. And by the time I had opened the car door and sat, I said, I don't need to. I already know it's done. It's done. It's already done in the mind of God. I know it's done. It is complete. The deal is done. And she's like, geez, some friend you are, you know, blah, blah, blah. We go have lunch. We come back about an hour later. We walk into the store, and the owner has now proposed a better deal than we proposed to begin with. It was that aligning with that, knowing, being plugged into the source, and being in co-creation with that source, that I just knew. I knew I didn't have to go through steps. I knew that physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I just knew it. I said, if I keep praying at it, if I keep doing all kinds of steps, that tells the universe I don't believe it. But I believe it now. It's done. And it was better still. You to make a commitment to regular spiritual practice. Steep yourself in the source and develop that consciousness, that Christ consciousness, that God mind, and restore vision to wholeness and oneness with the source of all being. And finally, the eighth condition for manifesting miracles is gratitude. The traditional interpretation from our story is that Jesus blessed the gifts of food. And in the Greek, once again, we tease the words apart a little bit. And the word that they use is what we now translate into English as eulogy. The first part of that word, EU, means to bless or give thanks. And the second part, logi, comes from the word logos, which we, at a very sort of baby level, translate as word. But logos is a word that has many, many meanings, pages of meanings. But one of the central ideas of what logos means is that the thought and the idea that is the source of the power of the word, that's the logos. The thought and the idea, the seed that is the source of the power of the word, that source connected to the source. Words and the power behind them have the ability to change our lives and to create miracles. The words channel the miraculous idea from mind and then in manifestation. So Jesus blesses the food from a restored and elevated vision and gratitude. In essence, Jesus says this. I paraphrase. I have to admit I wasn't there. Although I did follow in the footsteps when I was in the Holy Land. I had the good fortune to follow and walk the footsteps of Jesus. But this is in essence what he said when he blessed the food. This supply is perfect. It is abundant in quantity. It is exquisite in quality and generously given. We are grateful for the gift. And so basically Jesus was blessing us with an affirmation, or blessing the food as an affirmation, an affirmative blessing. And it directs the energy of positive thought to create more positive energy. Like attracts like. Focus on good and attract more good. Lift our thoughts. We lift our thoughts and we solidify them into words of affirmation. And that begins to flow good in and through and as our lives. The mindset of gratitude means that we have the faith to give thanks even before there is proof. Even before there's proof that we have something to be thankful for. That's faith. And so we develop a mindset and an attitude of gratitude. We give thanks ceaselessly. Remind yourself, when you're stuck at a traffic light or you're in a line where people are 6 foot apart and you're waiting to check out at the grocery store or whatever it is, stand there and be in gratitude, be in ceaseless gratitude for all the good and the blessings in your life. Bless and be grateful for all of your resources, all of the good, all of the time, not just when it's exceptional. Give of the gifts that you've been given, of your time, your talent, your treasure, your whole self. When you serve another person, here's a thought. Try this one out for size. Say, thank you. Thank you. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve you. Wow. That's a whole different energy, and it's powerful. Try it. Try it this week. Stay grounded in the present moment like children do. Go watch your grandchildren or watch a kids' show on TV. Stay grounded in the present moment with that childlike wonder and amazement, awe at the wonder of the universe. Restore your vision to see and to articulate clearly the miracle that you're manifesting. So consider your own blessings. What are you grateful for? And do it at least every day, if not throughout the day. So blessings on your journey of manifesting miracles. And so we continue with giving, grounding, restoring vision, and giving thanks. And so it is. And together we say, thank God within and all around me. Amen. There'll be 4 more conditions of manifesting miracles, not next Sunday because it's Father's Day and we have something special planned, but on the 4th Sunday we'll complete this series, do the last 4 conditions, and in the meantime, there is a chart from last week that is on the newsletter that went out this week and on the website, and the chart from this week with little tips and pointers so how you can activate these 4 conditions from today. That chart will also be on the website and in the newsletter coming out this week so that you can stay tuned in with the infinite of all good, the source. And so it is.
It's so funny. We were so in sync today because those very words, I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve you. I wrote that in a card to a client on Wednesday.
And you know what? I'm not going to tell what this is, but I know that Rob is manifesting a miracle as we speak. I've been getting emails from people telling me the miracles they're manifesting. Yeah. And I'm telling you what, people are getting this, And manifesting miracles is going to become the lifestyle of folks in this spiritual community and beyond. It can become our lifestyle, and we have a really powerful opportunity right now with things breaking down. They're breaking down, opening up, creating the emptiness into which we get to decide what flows back. So, activate the conditions. Start manifesting miracles. You can do it.
And we have a song called Prayer of Gratitude by Jack Fowler. And if I'm in that place where they have heaven and they have all those forks and they're feeding each other, I'm probably going to gain some weight. So I am also grateful that there is no gravity in heaven.
There you go.
Grateful, grateful, I am grateful for all that I am, all that I have. I am grateful, I'm so grateful. Thankful, thankful, thankful. I am thankful for all that I am, all that I have. I am thankful. I'm so thankful. Grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all that I am, all that I have. I am grateful, oh so grateful. Thankful, thankful. I am thankful for all that I am, all that I have. I am thankful. I'm so thankful.
You know, speaking of gratitude, I just want to take a moment. I know that on Sundays you only see Rob and me up here, but there are some folks behind the scenes who are serving you without you seeing them. And I want to acknowledge those people. We're starting to acknowledge those people by highlighting them in some of the newsletters that are going out. We want to appreciate our volunteers. So we've got a few volunteers that are kind of scattered all over the place. I don't know what made me think when we started doing this that somehow Rob and I were going to do everything. And we could have, but you'd have seen this flash of color running back and forth. So I just want to thank Darlene Murray, who runs our Facebook Live camera. So we want to thank Darlene. We want to thank David Hawkins, who comes and pushes some of the sound buttons and helps us to sound better. We're getting better. We're constantly getting better. So we want to thank David. I want to thank Julie Donnelly, who runs the video camera that ends up on the website. So I want to thank her. She's way back there. I want to thank Don and Linda, who also come and help us out, not only on Sundays, but a lot of other times, and especially out on the property, keeping it beautiful. I want to thank Virginia Schneider, who holds us all in consciousness, you know, over there. And so I just want to tell you, and I want to acknowledge our Board of Trustees. Our Board of Trustees has been very supportive in all the things that we've had to learn and do and create and make happen and blah, blah, blah. So I want to thank our Board of Trustees and all our other volunteers who I know are also holding us in consciousness and in spirit, and all the people who have also created other ways for us to connect and be interactive. I want to thank all those. There are too many to mention, but keep looking at the newsletters and you'll see them. So I want to thank those people. And on Wednesday evenings, you know, similar thing happens. You see the musician and me, and often you'll see David or Reverend Amy either doing the talk or the spiritual practice. So you don't see too many people in front of the camera, but there are a lot of people that enable it to happen. And so please send your gratitude. Send your gratitude out to those people who are supporting us and supporting you during this time when we're having to remember that we're all interconnected in one, even though we don't see it with these eyes, we see it with these eyes. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to serve you. Thank you. And so I guess, I want to remind you, Wednesday, virtual Wednesday evening music and inspiration, 7 o'clock Wednesday evening, Facebook Live, also on the website live and recorded.
And what is that website again?
What?
What is that website again? What's it called?
The website is unityofsarasota.org. Or you can go to Facebook and like and follow the Unity of Sarasota Facebook page. And all of those things will keep you connected, as well as all kinds of other stuff keep you connected. So this Wednesday, our theme is free, and Elaine Silver and myself will be gracing you with music. And so tune in and check it out with us. Just before that, Michael Lindquist is doing a meditation on Facebook Live starting at 6:30. So you have an opportunity to get really settled in before we come and give you another opportunity to get even further centered. All right, so join us for that. And so let's do the prayer for protection, followed by the peace song.
All right, here we go. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God our Creator. Family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony virtually. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, it begins with me.
Blessings on your journey.